Hi, this is Monty with Mindful Higher Ed, and if you're wondering what candy has to do with meditation, this video is for you, coming up. Hi, this is Monty with Mindful Higher Ed, and this is a new YouTube channel welcoming you to a conversation about mindfulness and education, whether it's K through 12 or college or community college or graduate school. I want to grow that discussion about mindfulness and education. What I'd like to do is to introduce you to one of my favorite types of mindfulness exercises that I teach for students. And when I've taught this meditation, mindful eating, more often than not, my students are curious and interested, and it's a nice simple doorway to the world of meditation. Now, to get started, what I'd like to ask you to do is to get a piece of your favorite candy, or it could be something like a raisin or a grape or a nut, just some small tiny snack that you can hold in the palm of your hand. Get your piece of candy as your object of meditation, and what I'd like to do now is ask you to hold the piece of candy in one hand, and as you're holding it, you can have either your eyes open or closed, just simply noticing the shape, the weight, the feeling of this object of meditation in your hand. A piece of candy may not be that heavy, but there's clearly a sensation associated with it. Even just rolling around the candy, you can note its textures, its contours. Just paying attention of this as your object of meditation. Now, let me welcome you now to actually look and investigate this object of attention. I'm looking at this piece of candy. It's bright blue, but the surface is sort of reflecting light, but not terribly so. There's a letter M inscribed on the candy, but when you're noticing that, just take a look. Is that letter, is that shape, is that geometry of this object pure and perfect, or do you notice its flaws? Do you notice its irregularities? If it's a reflective piece of candy, do you notice that the light is shining on it in different ways? Just paying attention to this object of awareness. And now let me invite you actually just to lift up the candy and take a sniff. You might notice some textures or aromas, some flavors coming out. And what I'd like to do now is invite you to reflect more on how this piece of candy or raisin or whatever your object is, how it got into your hand right now. I purchased my candy from a store, and that store sells a variety of candies, and there was a delivery of that store of the candies from a truck. And just think now about the person who delivered that candy in the truck and how far they may have driven to that store, and to the corporation that manufactured this candy, and all of the food scientists and all of the food engineers and the manufacturers and people working at that manufacturing plant whose lives, whose jobs are invested in this simple thing that you're holding right now. This is an example of what one of my favorite Buddhist philosophers, Thich Nhat Hanh, calls interdependence. Realizing how our lives are connected in the most intimate ways when we're reflecting on things more deeply beneath the surface. And now when you're ready, let me invite you to actually put the candy in your mouth. Don't eat it right away. Just let it sit and collect and notice what sensations might be coming up right now as you're about to envision eating the candy. But now just put the candy in your mouth. I'm noticing an intense desire to eat the candy right away, but I'm just going to let that sensation sit with me. Now, gently crunch or eat your candy. Notice what sensations are coming up. I'm noticing a very intense sensation of chocolate. I almost want something to drink to sort of reduce that intensity. And now as the candy dissolves in your mouth, it's fading away. And that, my friends, is an eating meditation. We can do eating meditation any time of day, whether it's for breakfast or lunch or dinner. And the idea is not to eat all of your food in slow motion. That would take probably half an hour to an hour. But instead, the focus is just simply to be a bit more mindful with the food that we eat and a bit more appreciative of the simplicity of these moments. Because within the simplicity of these moments, the real hidden gems of life are waiting for you. If you've enjoyed this video, please click like or subscribe, and I'd love to hear your comments on how to make other videos about mindfulness and other discussions about mindfulness in higher education. Thank you so much.